Are Red Bull making promises they can't keep? Well, a lot is going on. Perez is really stirring up what we're going to be getting towards the end of the season with Liam Lawson, Yuki, Daniel Ricciardo, and Perez. What honestly feels like the four most talked about drivers in this season. Because we haven't gotten such a real silly season that we usually get with the driver transfers, a lot of stuff is getting set up now, and I want to talk about the setups and as to how this is all going to happen. Recently, Liam Lawson didn't get picked for the 2024 seat in AlphaTauri. It was Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo, which I understand why they did it. A lot of people are mad. I mean, I'm one of them. I think Liam is that guy who's got balls of steel. Love his overtakes. Love how he was even defending Yuki in Suzuka in a track that was supposed to be Yuki dominated, where Japan's watching him and everything, but now this guy had the balls to do it, defend, and really be who he is. And I love that about Liam. He is a very genuine guy. You can tell by his racing that he had a poor start in Singapore, scores points, and the first thing he says is, sorry guys, I screwed up, we should have scored more. Like, that's Mamba mentality. That's thinking under pressure, going for it in the moments when most needed. The pressure has always been on Liam. He's been in this car for 4 races, has performed in every single race so far. Like, he does deserve a F1 seat. Well, in this new contractual agreement of him being a reserve driver, it is said that he is guaranteed a seat in 2025. Is that something Red Bull can provide? I think it can. With all the pieces moving and with what is now being put in the real, I guess, stirring pot for the Red Bull team, with Perez's crashes, Ricciardo coming back, and whether Yuki can step up or not, let's speak about it. Thank you guys, by the way, for the support. It's absolutely insane. 10,000 subscribers. That's crazy. That is very crazy, and genuinely, I love you guys. I'm going to do a giveaway like soon, working on it, and it should be within the upcoming videos. Thank you all so much. You guys are for real the best, so thank you. Let's continue into the video. Okay, first driver I want to talk about is Perez. So with Perez, I think the Red Bull team is holding on to him till the Mexico GP. They obviously want him to perform there. And recently it just came out, he said that would be his dream to win the Mexican GP. I obviously know that Max is not going to let him. He doesn't want Max to let him either, but maybe something happens there. I really hope, honestly, I hope that Perez can win the Mexican GP. On pure merit, I hope he is so fast there. I want him to have at least a decent, what I think might be like one of his last races in this car. They're prepping him almost as if Daniel Ricciardo is going to come in this year. I know he's got a contract for 2024, but hear me out. With Perez doing this bad, and with Liam Lawson being kind of this in agreement, it sets up this whole entire circle. I think, honestly, Red Bull was going for Daniel Ricciardo and Liam Lawson in the AlphaTauri, but with the whole Honda agreement and Yuki obviously being somewhat associated with Honda, being Japanese, it makes a real stir up for them. Imagine Honda tells them, oh, no Yuki? All right, 2024, no engine either. And guess what? You know, Ferrari's not going to give him the engine. You know, Mercedes is not going to give him the engine. I mean, maybe Renault would give him the engine out of just like pure desperateness, but you have that Renault engine, you ain't getting first. No matter how good your car is, that Renault engine's like 20, 30 horsepower behind. It would have made a whole entire mess for that Red Bull squad. So obviously some thought process on keeping Yuki, keeping the engine was definitely talked about. Yuki is not a bad driver. I think Yuki is good, and he's prepping himself for, okay, practically he's solidified there until 2025. We'll see what happens with Ricciardo. I think Ricciardo is going to step up to Red Bull, whether that be in 24 or 25. Now, this does put Ayumi Iwasa in a tricky situation because he's the next upcoming Red Bull, but none of them seem like standout talents. I like Iwasa, but like, do we really think he's going to be the next driver next to Verstappen? Liam kind of seems like the guy right now. We got to see what Ricciardo can show because Perez just isn't efficient enough. Like, honestly, it's not what they were expecting. If this year was not what they were having with his dominant car and Max literally winning like every single race with the exception of like 1 or 2, like, it's not what they wanted. If the cars were closer, which in 2024, I predict we're going to get a huge team battle because of cars going down the Red Bull concept and learning from it. I do think Red Bull might still be the best, but it's going to be pretty close. With it being closer, you can't afford Perez to be finishing 8th and 9th if all the cars are just that close. He's finishing 8th or 9th now with the most dominant car on the grid. he was 6 tenths behind Max. 6 tenths behind in Japan. That's like, wow. That car is so quick. Even if you drive it with the understeery style, it should still be quick, but it's just going out of his way. He even hired a mental coach from what I'm hearing, and clearly it's not really helping him out. It's a lot to come over. I get it for Perez. I actually feel for the guy. Like, I want him to be performing a lot better. I'm not here to bash on Perez. I think Perez is a great driver. I think how he was in Racing Point was one of the best drivers that I've ever seen in that year. He was fantastic. He had a crazy 20-1 comeback that nobody on their resume can say they had that. Like, Perez has had an amazing career, but he's coming older, and Red Bull is just Red Bull. It's a pressure cooker. It's just waiting to just explode, and sadly, it exploded on Perez rather than another driver. So I think Ricciardo's getting lined up there, and I think Yuki, up until 2025, will be in that AlphaTauri seat. And 26, whether it be Fernando, whether it be Lance, I think Lance is slowly coming to terms with leaving Formula One. It will be Yuki next in that seat. And with Yuki being in the Aston Martin team, I think that's something that would be actually a great combination. Beautiful chassis, awesome car with an insane engine. I mean, we gotta see. Those 2026 Aston Martins are probably gonna be blazing because more electricity, Honda with their electricity, this ERS system right now, it's gonna be a tricky team to beat, honestly. They seem like the favorites when it comes to the engine department, but apparently Mercedes are super ahead on this, so we'll have to find out. Liam will definitely be in the seat in 2025 because of Ricciardo moving. Ricciardo's not going to stay in that AlphaTauri in 25. Let's say they're like, oh, stay one more year, we'll see for 26. That means that he's not coming on the team. But if he can hop in 25, sign him on to a 1 year, see what happens. Maybe Lando joins in 26. The Red Bull team is just, they are the silly season right now. Everything is revolving around them and what will happen with this team. Those are my thoughts. Ricciardo, Red Bull, Lawson, AlphaTauri, and Yuki Tsunoda at some point in 2024. I really do believe Perez is not going to be here for much longer after the Mexican GP because they just want to keep him around, show him off there in his hometown, and maybe have a last couple of races. That's great. Good driver. Hopefully he stays in the sport, but it'll be tricky considering what's happening. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Let me hear. I know it's been spoken about a lot, but love to hear from you guys. You know, I always coming back and love reading your comments. So please leave a like, subscribe, it'd mean the world, and peace.